Now, how long did you do in prison?
2.5 years.
And what landed you into prison exactly?
Basically, my music and the lifestyle that my parole officers thought I was living, the music and really with the content and the visuals I put out, they say it was in violation of my parole, so they had sentenced me to 10 years. They made me back up my time that I was on parole for.
Just based on your music?
Just based on my music. I never caught another charge or nothing, so they just looked at all the small things that led up to them doing it where they could have gave me like 90-day texts or they could have just ran my charges together. They just gave them to me separate due to the fact of the music.
I didn't know they were allowed to use music or lyrics against you.
I ain't know that either. But they just were like, I had shot, the video that really got it was the Can't Trust You. I was in this drug program from a charge that I had caught, which my co-defendant had copped out to the charge and took the time. They still ended up giving me some more drug treatment classes or whatever in order to go home. So I'm in the drug treatment classes, but I'm still doing my music. And they told me that the music that I was making and the video that I was shooting, it wasn't, it looked like it was dangerous to my treatment or whatever. So they told me to sign a piece of paper saying that I wasn't gonna do no more videos, pertaining to drugs and murder and violence.
Oh.
But
so this was part of your.
That's why I was in the drug treatment program.
Oh. Okay.
They didn't want me doing that. They didn't want me traveling, doing no shows or nothing. But I ended up shooting the Can't Trust You video, and a couple weeks after I shot that video, I got shot, and it was in the same area where I shot the video. So the parole officer was like, well, what happened? Why you got shot? What you was doing out there? Because I had a curfew I was supposed to be in, but I was out past my curfew when I got shot. So she used that to be like, well, while you was out, I was just hanging with my, at my aunt's house. But they used the shooting, and they put it together like, oh, you must be really living that lifestyle or whatever. So I told them like, well, since I got shot and they didn't want me in the program no more, they automatically gave me my time. Yeah, they act like they finna give me a transfer because I was trying to move to another state. So when I went to the office, instead of them giving me the paper to move, they had set it up for me to go to jail. That's when they had all the violations against me or whatever.
I see.
Yeah.
So this was while you were on probation?
Yeah, I was on probation for
this was
2 previous charges.
So this was considered a probation violation?
Yeah, they consider that a probation violation. The music video, being in a club, they use just minor stuff.
Now, when you said there were 2 previous charges that led to the probation, did you have to do prison time for those charges previously?
No, the first time I ever went to jail, I had got caught with a gun and some drugs or whatever. I had bonded out like the same day. I had got 5 years probation. Then I caught another charge. Well, I did 8 months. They gave me 5 more years on top of the 5 that I was already on probation for. That's when I got violated, and they gave me both of the 5s.
Oh.
Ran wild. Meaning I had to do 2.5 on this. 2 on this and 2 on this one, which was 4 years altogether. But I had did 2.5. Well, I did 3 because I had the good time, and I had 8 months prior to that. So I did 3 years altogether for the whole thing. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. When they tell you that the drug treatment, they don't want you shooting these videos and, doing this and doing shows and stuff like that, how long were they expecting you not to shoot videos for? Just the time you were going?
As long as I'm in drug court, which was an 18-month program. I was almost finished with the program. That's the crazy part. I was damn near finished. So I guess they just ain't want to see me on the streets. They was hearing a lot of stuff, but they couldn't prove none of the stuff that they was hearing. So I guess they just felt like we're just gonna lock them up then for this.
Looking back, if you could do it all over again, what would you have done? Would you have done the same thing no matter what, or would you have just waited it out a little bit more?
I ain't know it was that serious to them, but at the end of the day, everything happened for a reason. So it's like I went to jail, and during that time, I met a guy that I ended up signing to our label named EXO. He recently he been locked up for like 1.5 years, but he was in jail, and I heard his music while I was in there, and I made some phone calls and pulled some strings and got him out. You know, he gonna be the biggest when he touched down. So Free EXO, shout out to him. When he touched down, he gonna be one of the biggest artists. But you know, I met some. You know, I grew more, matured more throughout that time. So I wouldn't change a thing. You know, I feel like everything happened for a reason.
Some might look at 2.5 years and say, that's a lot of time, though, to say that statement. And another person might look at 2.5 years who's done more time than that, like, that ain't nothing.
I mean, once you do it and put it behind you and you get out of jail, it seemed like it was a breeze. But, you know, you go through a lot, you know, day in and day out. But, you know, once you get that time, you got to suck it up and, you know. But I met most of my most valuable friends in jail. You know, that's where I met Steve-O. Me and him, like, bonded and you know. He came home, you know, we locked in. I met a lot of my best friends in jail, so, hey.
Now, what jail were you sent to, and what prison were you sent to, I should say, and what level of security was that? I know there's different levels of them.
Shit, ain't no different. You got PC and you got regular population. I was in population. I went to like in Baton Rouge.
Isn't there like a level 1 type of prison?
No, that's like in the feds, like in the federal, they got levels, but in I mean, the states, it's like satellite camps and DOC.
State prison.
Yeah, I was in the state prison, like satellite camps and stuff, like going all over Louisiana.
I see. Now, were you staying in one prison for most of that 2.5 years?
Shit, no, they move you around. Like, you might be here, you might be one spot for 8 months. They might just come in there and tell you to pack up, ship you somewhere else. They ship you all over the place in Louisiana. Why?
What's the reasoning behind that?
Oh, they just be sending people, picking, you know, they just be hand-picking people. Like, you might get shipped anywhere.
Now, your first night during that 2.5 years, what was that like for you?
I mean, when they snatched me up, they told me, they actually said I had went out of town and they put a patch on my arm. It supposed to detect drugs or whatever. So they used that, like 3 weeks later, they used that for to say I had cocaine in my system. I never did drugs a day in my life, no cocaine, you know. So I ain't understand that, but they say I had cocaine in my system. So usually for when you do that, like have a dirty urine, you get 2 days in jail. So I'm thinking like, well, I'm finna be in there for 2 days, it ain't no biggie, you know. But come to find out, when the 2 days went by, I'm calling my lawyer, he go down there and whatever, he come back with all type of violations that they could have been, you know. So I was like, oh man, it's deeper than what I think it is. So I just knew it was over with after that. I had took the video down and everything, they still gave me the time. So I mean, I took a big lick for that record. Can't trust you, y'all go check that out.
Now, how did you pass the time in those 2.5 years?
I was in a lot of programs. I was in the church program. You know, like soon as I got to the facility, to Rivers Correction, they had a guy that I knew from the streets. And, you know, he like was big and deep into God or whatever. They had put me on the side where like, ain't none of that on that side. Like I was on the grimy side. And that same day he came, like a couple days later, he came to the dorm with like, come to the window and holler at me like, man, I'm finna get you over here. I'm like, bet. So he got me over there to the program. He talked to the warden and got me in the program to get some good time. And I was in a little Bible class, you know, they teaching us about God and Jesus. You know, I'm learning stuff. And from there I ended up getting shipped to, I had went to work release where you go to work, so.
Now, the whole time you were in the Louisiana State prison system?
Yeah.
So you were based in Louisiana?
Yeah, I was in Louisiana.
Now, did you already have popularity being a known rapper from Baton Rouge?
Yeah, a lot of people do. Yeah, it got its ups and downs. You know, people be jealous, but it's all about how your energy is. Like if you got good energy, people gonna be jealous, but then they gonna come around and start, you know, gradually, you know, being on your side or whatever. But you know, it wasn't that bad. It could have been worse. I'd have seen worse in other people's situations, but you know, I went into drugs and, you know, gambling and, you know, like that in jail. Like, my main joke was the phone. You know, I spent a lot of money on that phone, talking all day, every day, you know, like that, visitation and stuff like that.
I know sometimes rappers will maybe rap on the phone and so another person can record it, maybe put it out on the internet and stuff like that. Did you ever try doing any of that stuff?
I don't think I did that.
Like just spit an acapella on the phone?
No, I never did. I ain't do that, but I ain't gonna lie, I had so much music out there, but when I went to jail, you know, the ball fell in my team hands, you know, and they was doing their thing, whatever. So I wasn't really too much worried about, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just bettering myself for the situation that I was in at that moment. Preparing when I come back.
When they snatched you up for the probation violation, was it out of nowhere or you saw this coming?
Really, I ain't see it coming. Like, I had my daughter with me when I went up there because she called me up there. I was shot. I got shot in the back. So when I went up there to get the paper, they would like come up here and talk to us about, we're going to talk about the situation with you moving. Like, basically, I was going to see if they were going to give me the okay, being that I got shot. So when I got in there, they were like walking in front of me, and I had my daughter, my parole officer was like, well, let me see your daughter. Let me hold her. That just seemed weird to me. And she just like walking in front of me. So I'm walking, and I walk in this little room. It had like 6 men, like officers, surrounded, you know, in the room. They just grabbed me. I'm like, I'm like, what's going on? They like, yeah, you know, she locked me up. I'm like, what's going on? Like, she just set it up so sweet. But I'm looking at her like, you serious? And she just like, yeah, you had cocaine in your system. I'm like, oh, man. So they locked me up, whatever, took me down there. And I'm thinking like 2 days, I'm finna be gone. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, damn, you know.
So it was not like your team could prepare your music and stuff like that while you were doing this tour?
And then, like, the music, mind you, I went to jail for my music, so they couldn't put nothing out.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They played the music video in court. And the judge was like, man, that go against everything I stand for. I can't let you go, even though it's not, I don't really care about it. But it's the fact that you have too many people that's looking up to you like I'm responsible for them. You know what I'm saying? So I just was like, all right, whatever, you know.
Now, when it came to rapping in prison, did you rap in prison or were you
mainly
writing?
You got, I ain't gonna say you have to, but it's like a culture. That's one of the biggest things in jail, like rapping. And, you know, cutting hair, rapping, tattooing, all that sports, that's big in jail. So you got to bless, like, that's fans. I look at them as fans, too. You got to bless them. Like, when I first got to the satellite camp, on my first shows, you know, Steve-O, you know, he in the cut over there. He called me to the back. You know, he was rapping like he was the jailhouse. He was one of the main jailhouse rappers. You know, he had been in there for like 4 years. You know what I'm saying? So he was hot with it. So he wanted to, you know, check my temperature. I went back there and did my thing, whatever. But, you know, that's something you got to do. You know what I'm saying? They going to call you out. But you don't have to. But it's fun to get in there. And, you know, because people really look up to you when they see you really got something going on with the music. So, you know.
Did you battle other?
I did a couple battles before. Yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Were you writing lyrics?
Yeah, I wrote some, but I mostly freestyle. So, I mean, I was writing though, because I get in my zone. Like, I ain't gonna lie, being in that church program, it really put my mind in another place, like being more, what I want to say, being more conscious of the things I say and how I say it. So, yeah, that program really gave me some real good lyrical content.
Have you used any of those lyrics since you've been home, been free?
Yeah, I used some. I got one I had wrote by my daughters, because like being in jail and you calling home for birthdays and stuff, you can't be there. Like, that's like a real hurtful feeling. So I had wanted to make a song and elaborate on for my daughters, like how I know that I was, you know, I could have been there, you know, just letting them know like I felt their pain.
Somebody watching this going to prison for the first time, any do's or don'ts you would tell somebody watching this?
Don't be friendly. Don't be friendly. Don't be trying to don't be trying to fit in. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you wouldn't do on the street, don't do in jail. You know, because you got a lot of people that be like, they'll go back there and do stuff and do this and do that. You know what I'm saying? Fear is, you know, just false evidence appearing real. So, you know, it ain't what people think. You know, people going there with this mind frame of, man, it's the worst. So I'm going to just go ahead and subject to whatever they know. You know, just be a man no matter what. If you don't stand for this, don't stand for it. If you stand for it, stand for it. You know what I'm saying?
Can one survive prison without joining a gang?
Yeah. You know, in Baton Rouge, we ain't got no gangs. Like, I mean, they just starting, you know, a lot of these youngsters got that, you know, that gang, all that stuff. But, you know, man, at the end of the day, it'll be people who you never knew, like that you never met before, that you'll end up clicking up with and being cool with outside of a gang. Like, I never really got into that.
Did you have to fight in prison?
Yeah, I had a couple fights. But I had more fights on my last shows. on my first Joe than I had on this Joe. So I probably had like 1 fight on this Joe.
Why do you think that was? Why more the first time instead of, and that was your first time on your first?
That was my first time doing doing time. So, I mean,
you think it was an experience thing or just the people that were in the prison?
I mean, just energy, you know what I'm saying? Like, at first, back then, I used to be like, if somebody had something to say, you know, it's jail. You know, people gonna say things, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you get into it with somebody, you can't just brush it off because you don't know who he is and what he got going on, so you gotta, you gotta fight.
Now, in the one fight that you were in on this prison bid, were you the aggressor or defending yourself? I
was defending myself because, like, dude kind of slow must have been. We was watching TV, and when I turned around, he was just standing there. I'm like, man, what you doing? Like, he wanted to, like, I don't know what was wrong with him. I ifed at him, and he jumped, and I just hit him. Yeah.
When it comes to fights, are you ever worried about maxing out your time or catching an additional charge because of fighting? Did that worry you at all or no?
Yeah, it depends on the situation because, like, when it do, because if you lose that good time, man, that shit's stressful. You don't want to lose no good time.
Could that fight you were involved in been avoided or no?
I feel like any fight could be avoided. Like, it depends on you. If you won't fight back, then you avoid it. But if you fighting back, fuck it. Yeah. You gotta defend yourself, though.
Did you have to do solitary confinement at all?
No, I never went on lockdown.
Now, have you ever well, let me ask you this. Craziest thing you've seen while you were locked up?
Man, I had made it to the, they had put me like in the, the honor dorm with like the trustees, and we was in there, we was shooting pool. They got a pool table in there. That shit was crazy. They got a pool table in there, and they had this older guy that slept like right next to me, but I slept at the top, he slept at the bottom. He used to shoot pool with us every day, you know. He nice with that pool stick. And one day I was coming in from the, I worked on the road crew cutting grass for the city out there in Faraday. And we had came in, they like, man, you know, old school just died. Man, he fell out in the hall, just died. I was like, damn, you know, like that was crazy. Like, dude just died, like,
natural
in jail.
Causes?
Yeah, natural heart attack.
Oh.
He was an older man, but that like, he died in prison. Like, that's crazy.
Does rape happen in prison?
Shit, no. I ain't never seen nobody get raped. It's possible though. Yeah, they rape people in that world and in jail, but I ain't never seen nobody get raped.
Have you ever seen that show on MSNBC called Lock Up?
Yeah, we used to watch that in there. That shit was funny.
Now, let me ask you this. For somebody that's never been locked up in a state prison, for example, and I know they show different prison systems and jail systems on that documentary type of series, but is what someone sees on that show similar to what really happens in prison?
I ain't gonna lie, on that lockup shit, I don't think none of that shit fake. That shit real. That shit real. That's reality.
So it's an accurate depiction of prison life.
Yeah, shit, it's loud. It depends on, you know, I done seen some people just coming there on some tickets, like little minor shit, and as soon as they get up there, they get jumped, crowded, beat up bad, you know. Shit,
What kept you motivated while you were inside?
My kids, my family. Just, I ain't gonna lie, when you in jail, you really think about how much like me, the position I was in, like I had something to live for out there. So I'm like, damn, man, I really should have been devoted to this rap shit. Like, on the grinding every day, doing what I need to do. Like, that really made me like, man, when I come on this time, I'm going, you know, all the way with it. Like, I ain't stopping.
You said you spent a lot of time on the phone. Was visitation?
Yeah, I used to get visits every other week. Like, you get visits every 2 weeks, but once you make it to a trustee status, I was getting visit every week. Then I went to work release, which is a program where they give you a job in the real world. So I was in the real world, like the last 9 months of my time, I was in the real world working. I had a real job working at Sammy's, a restaurant.
Did people notice you?
Yeah, people noticed me. Shit, really, that's how I got the job. Interviewed by somebody that knew me, and they went on and hired me.
Were you embarrassed? People recognizing you?
I wasn't embarrassed because everybody knew I was in jail, but I mean, it was funny. Like, damn, like I had a couple of people come be like, Vicks, man, what you doing here? Like, man, I'm in jail, man. I'm working, man.
But
Yeah.
you're not in a jail outfit or anything. You're
No,
in a
you in regular clothes. Like they might have work release down here. You might, the guy dumping your trash might be in jail. I worked on the trash truck too.
So somebody's seeing you and saying, "Hey, is that you, Vince?"
Yeah, like people coming up.
Did people think you like fucked up?
Yeah, they like I fell off. I'm like,
fell
shit,
off.
no, man. Yeah, I used to be in work release with like $1,200 in my pocket. Shit, yeah.
Now, who did you see the most when it came to visitation?
My ex-girlfriend, her name Juanita. Me and her, she ain't gonna lie, she stuck by me. She really, she really did. But we ain't together no more. But, she was like a best friend to me. And we had ended up breaking up, going our separate ways. But she really held it down. A lot of miles on her car come from DLC.
Were you far away from your family, visitation-wise?
It depends. Sometimes it'll be like an hour and a half, 2 hours. They still came.
Now, El Chapo escaped prison twice. Did you ever have thoughts on breaking out?
I ain't had thoughts, but I just be thinking like, man, what if I could just one day just bust out this bitch and my dog pull up with a jet and I just fly to another country. It just used to be, used to be thinking like that because my dogs was out there balling, you hear me? Like, I'm getting them pictures and that just kept me motivated, especially when I got that XXL and I looked in there and saw them in there and I was in there like that shit, that was crazy. That was mad love.
Now, you said, one more question on the violation. You said that they were running the first 5 years and the second 5 years of violations. That's 10 years of probation, right?
Well, they could have ran it together and just gave me 10 and suspended 5, and I would have did 2.
Oh, okay.
2 years on 5, which I would have really been home like a year, 2 years early.
Oh, so they maxed out
They maxed me out.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.